Lean Lab really began as a group of 10 people grabbing brunch once a month over on the west side. And we are a group of educators and social workers and community activists and artists who got together a month later really just posit what the power could be behind a galvanized community that could catalyze change in the landscape of education in Kansas City. And we started hosting convening events in a more formal manner where we brought together these different segments of the community, again, educators, community leaders, civic leaders, etc., and started collecting people's challenges with public education and their ideas for new solutions that would change the trajectory for kids across our city. And then we got a little bit more formalized and launched our first inaugural Incubator Fellowship program last summer, where we took educators with early stage ideas for new products, services, or school designs that aimed at transforming education in Kansas City and gave them the dedicated time, space, resources, and network to create bold new products, services, school designs again, and launch them into classrooms across the city and launch them into market so that they could acquire the resources needed to begin growing this change. And in just that last cohort, each venture, we launched 8, committed to impacting at least 500 kids in over 5 years, and actually they all exceeded that with a collective impact of over 2,400 kids this last year. However, we know there are 70,000 kids throughout the entire Kansas City region, which brings us to this summer.
You guys will get to see Cohort 2 of the Incubator Fellowship tonight and what they've accomplished. But to take you back a bit, 4.5 weeks ago, they joined us and took their first half week to actually delve into the context of the Kansas City urban education landscape, learning about its history, its current challenges, so they understood really what they were entering before they launched their solution. So then in their first full week, they went out into that community and they sought to validate the problem that they thought they were going to solve. And they did this by interviewing at least 25 parents, students, educators, administrators from the community to delve deeper into what those root causes of that problem may be. Only then, in week 2, were they allowed to propose a solution to this problem. And they built a physical prototype of their product, their service, their program, to then take back out to that same community and test twice. Then in week 3, they were able to take a bigger look and say, okay, what are the key resources, the key partners that I'm going to need to make this real, to make sure that my program, my service, my product makes its impact on Kansas City students. And they began reaching out and building those partnerships, some of which you'll see here tonight. And then finally, the dreaded pitch of week 4, standing up on the stage and making sure your mic doesn't stay on mute and all of that. No, they learned how to communicate their solution to a broader audience, to gain traction, to gain support, so these solutions can live and breathe inside schools this fall. And you'll see their asks tonight, and so that you can become part of this community. But we could not have done this work without the mentors, the sponsors, and the supporters, many of which are sitting in the crowd tonight. So if you were a mentor, you gave your time, you led a workshop, or you were in a coaching session with our fellows, please stand up and be recognized. Don't be shy. And to our sponsors, the Economic Development Corporation of Kansas City and Missouri Bank, for fueling scholarships that allow some of our fellows to engage with us in this work. If you are here tonight, please stand. Thank you. And then, of course, the Sprint Accelerator. We are so honored and blessed to be in this space doing this work. So Tina, I know, is over here. Thank you. And then finally, to our supporters, if you've given a donation or an in-kind gift to the Lean Lab, thank you so much for that support in fueling innovation and education. Please stand up as well and be recognized.
All right, and it'd be remiss if we didn't acknowledge the incredibly hard and brave and bold work work these 8 women have accomplished this last 4.5 weeks. So I always say this, and I think it's so true. Carrie and I have the best jobs, and we are so privileged to take in these early stage dreams, really these dreams that people have of making the world a better place, making our city a better place. And we are so incredibly honored to take those in and work with each of our fellows as they build something really incredible and really meaningful. And I hope you guys are inspired as I share them tonight. And Carrie gave a brief overview of the 4.5 weeks. These fellows have really just hustled and put in pretty much blood, sweat, and tears, almost literally, and to make these innovations turn into realities. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome Emily Grand to the stage to kick us off for the evening. So please give a big round of applause.
Hi, I'm Emily Grand. I'm getting ready to start my 3rd year in the Kansas City Public School District. And in reflecting back on my past year, I started to think about the amount of feedback that I got, and I actually noticed a trend. After over 1,000 hours of classroom instruction, I was only observed by my administrators for 1 hour last year. Unfortunately, this is a common thing for a lot of district teachers. Currently, 70% of KCPS teachers will leave the classroom before their 5th year. We have a huge human capital crisis, but I believe that we can solve it by leveraging a system that is already in place in the district, but woefully ineffective. So currently, Missouri requires that 1st and 2nd year teachers meet every month with an experienced teacher in their building. However, these meetings rarely, if ever, take place because there's no system of accountability and there's no clear expectation for either party. That's where my program, Mentored KC, comes into play. We hope to make all teachers more effective by giving them a cycle of support. The cycle will start with building relationships. Experienced teachers will receive coaching development before returning to their schools to help new teachers set goals aligned to state standards. Every 2 weeks, those new teachers will upload a 15-minute video to a free online platform that their mentor teacher can then give them feedback on a rubric that they've designed together. However, in speaking with teachers, I learned that online development isn't enough, which is why Mentored KC will also require monthly coaching sessions between the two parties. Through this system, we hope that a culture of growth will begin to permeate through our schools. New teachers will gain the support that they need, while experienced teachers will gain a pathway to leadership, and school administrators will be able to leverage their staff's talent to improving student outcomes. This entire cycle will be monitored by a central Mentored KC coordinator whose sole focus will be on teachers, unlike some instructional coaches and principals that I interviewed who said that they were unfortunately pulled from the classroom. Additionally, this coordinator will be there to make sure that the pitfalls in our current system no longer affect teacher growth. Although there are some additional costs to employing a coordinator, similar programs such as the Step Up Initiative in Springfield Public Schools have actually saved their district over $1 million and improved teacher retention rates by 18%. And this is just in 3 years. So we know that the current system where teachers are getting feedback at alarmingly low rates isn't working. I'm currently looking for a partnership for a pilot school this fall. Also, if you have any experience working with HR representatives with cost structures, I would love to speak with you. So if you are interested in helping keep talented teachers in our classroom, please come see me after pitches.
Hi, my name is Katie Gore, and I'm a first grade teacher at Genesis Promise Academy, a charter school here in the city. And this is a picture of my class. As a first grade teacher, I love teaching science, and my students love learning about it. One day, one of my students, Jamal, came up to me and said, "Hey, Ms. Gore, I want to be a scientist." But unfortunately for Jamal and students like him, on the 2011 Missouri State Science Test, black students scored 32 points lower than white students. Why is this? As an urban core elementary teacher, we don't have enough time and resources to provide our students with hands-on science experiences, which impacts how science concepts are taught to them. So how do we fix this? We have to bring the resources to them. We will turn a school bus into a mobile STEM lab. Bring Us Science. Think of it as a field trip that comes to you. Bring Us Science provides a rigorous curriculum aligned to the next generation science standards, professional development, and teacher resources. We'll provide the students with hands-on learning experiences and multiple visits. This is not a one-time thing. Also, a low cost. Before the bus even comes to the school, teachers will work with their students on building their background and reviewing vocabulary words. Students would also take a short pre-test. The bus would come. When the bus came, students would enter the bus and have that experience. After the bus leaves, students would go back to their classrooms and write about their experiences on the bus. They would also take a short post-test. When Jamal and his classmates enter the bus, it will look like this. They will rotate through 4 different stations, completing 4 different activities. Here are a couple examples of what those activities would be if they were studying weather. They would create a structure to prevent warming from the sun, such as a tent or an umbrella. They would also explore wind and tornadoes, using a fan to demonstrate wind and a tornado tube to demonstrate tornadoes. The Bring Us Science bus would roll out starting in kindergarten, each year adding a grade level all the way up to 4th grade. The reason behind this is that 5th grade is the first year science is tested on the state science test. Now here's another picture of my class. This time we were outside making anemometers out of Dixie cups and straws. And as a teacher that loves science, I want all students to love science. I want all students like Jamal to want to be scientists. I want all students to say, bring us science. Now afterwards, any elementary teachers, principals, or anyone in a STEM career, please come talk to me. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Katie Laird. I teach high school English at Alta Vista Charter School. Unfortunately, she can't be here, but this is Kirsten Brown, my partner, and she teaches 5th grade reading at the Kaufman School. Kirsten and I met 2 years ago as Leading Educators Fellows as part of a 2-year fellowship for teacher leader development. In that time, we learned that there's great power in bringing great people, great leaders in our city into the same room together. This summer, Kirsten and I talked to over 30 school leaders, principals, vice principals, etc. And when we asked them, how is Kansas City doing at preparing people to lead our schools? We were surprised at one resounding answer. Essentially, the people leading our schools across the city feel like they're isolated in silos. So though Kirsten and I had experienced the power of being connected to other teachers across the city, essentially our schools are disconnected because their leaders are disconnected. One local charter school principal said, I think at all levels, Kansas City has collaboration problems. There are pockets of greatness and there are no systems to share anything. I think that's the big gap in Kansas City. So what if the next step in closing the achievement gap in Kansas City looked like closing the silo gap? Because when you close the silo gap, you close the resource gap and the innovation gap and the retention gap. This is exactly what Cohort, the Kansas City Collaborative for Reform in Education, does. Cohort is the only inclusive collaborative to bring school leaders together across district, charter, private, state line boundaries to compound each other's expertise. Cohort will bring leaders together primarily around 4 components. The first component are collaborative forums that are monthly gatherings that function as problem-solving communities, so that leaders can come and leave in that day with ideas and input on their actual immediate challenges. The second component will be these school learning visits, quarterly opportunities to highlight and learn from the great things happening in schools around our city. The third component is peer mentoring. This is the strategic matching of school leaders for ongoing support and feedback. And the last component is the Leader Connect portal, an online platform to efficiently allow leaders to connect with each other around their needs and their expertise. So the exponential impact of this can actually start small. We imagine that an ideal size for a problem-solving community, one problem-solving community, would be about 6 leaders coming together. If even 6 school leaders were coming together regularly, intentionally in this way, they would immediately be impacting over 2,000 Kansas City students. There's mounting research on this sort of collaborative thinking in education. going on in our country right now, and several pilot projects that are transforming the face of education. Kansas City has the unique opportunity to create a model of a collaborative that other cities across the country could replicate in a time that we're moving away from the competitive thinking to the collaborative thinking and education reform. We've already brought some major players to the table around this solution, but we definitely need school leaders, at least 6, to run a pilot this fall. And for sure, sign up for one of 2 happy hours in August by going to our Facebook website or see me in the back. We would also love sponsors to donate food in kind to get behind school principals and leaders coming together around student achievement in this large scale way. And lastly, Kirsten and I are both going back into the classroom in a few weeks, and we're looking for a potential co-founder. If you can see any other way that you can play a role in this collaborative movement, please come talk to me or check us out on social media. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Katina Taylor. I'm a Kansas City native, product of the Kansas City Public Schools, and an educator for the last 15 years. Tonight, I won't spend time telling you things that you already know. However, I will ask you some questions. The first being, how is it that everything in society has evolved except the way we do and deliver education? Why is it that many of our classroom spaces today look exactly the same way when I was a student and spent time in the classroom? Why is it that as our students matriculate through the grades, their reading scores do not improve, they actually decline? Why is it that our students consistently become disengaged in the educational process, specifically African American young men, which leads to dropouts and or graduating ill-prepared asking, now what? Why is it that we continue to feed the school-to-prison pipeline where 1 in 3 African American young men will spend time in jail or prison at some point? Why is it that education innovation can happen around us, but not right here in the urban core, in the Kansas City metro area where our students need it most? Why? I venture to say that students, families, and at sometimes teachers have become disengaged in the process. And where there is no engagement, achievement cannot occur. So tonight I ask you to reimagine education through a transformative and innovative new school model that I have called Dreams KC. Dreams KC will do away with the traditional and current model of education. It's not working. We know that. However, it will employ project-based learning. In project-based learning, students will go on an in-depth journey guided by a specific open-ended question. During that time, they will be able to ascertain what they need to know to come up with a solution or answer this particular question. They will have voice and choice, take ownership in their own learning as they design projects. They will receive consistent and effective feedback, not just from their teachers, but from their peers as well. And last, they will be able to interact with the community as they present solutions or answers to this particular question developed from their own learning. These are the 21st century skills our students need: collaboration, critical thinking, problem solving, and creativity. But Dreams won't start there. It will also offer gender-based classrooms, authentic parent engagement, wraparound services for the entire family, and all of these things will be delivered in a culturally relevant way. Of course, we have to have innovative classroom spaces, learning environments, much like the Sprint Accelerator here, spaces that are designed for innovation. And that's exactly what Dreams would like to offer, because our physical spaces impact the way in which we learn. The implementation plan is quite simple. We would like to partner with the Kansas City Public Schools for the next 4 years, where we work with the same students and families for those 3 years after our initial planning phase. So what do we need from you tonight? I invite decision makers from the Kansas City Public Schools to come and sit at the table and discuss this innovative, transformative, and powerful way to boost student achievement. We need business leaders and educational professionals at the table as well, so that we can discuss creative ways of reallocating resources to make dreams a reality. And last, but certainly not least, we need consistent and ongoing feedback from families, because this dream belongs to them. So all I ask you today is to join me in creating dreams. Thank you.
My name is Eliana Hudson, and I'm a junior at UMKC studying English creative writing.
And I'm Janella Clark, and I've been a math teacher for 8 years. 4.5 weeks ago, Ellie and I came to the Lean Lab, initially thinking that we were researching 2 separate problems.
I was interested in researching how to make the classroom more engaging from a student's perspective.
And I came thinking that I was researching how to make my classroom more relevant from a teacher's point of view.
And we found out we actually had the same problem. And it all boils down to a cup of coffee. And so, after pitches, we all plan on staying behind, networking, talking to new people, and eventually meeting up for a cup of coffee. It's a potential way to start a partnership, right?
That's typically how it works, but as a teacher, I don't have the time, I don't have the flexibility, and I don't know where to begin to build a professional network outside of my school.
So one job teachers have is to help prepare students for their future careers. So teachers should be able to talk with these industry professionals to make sure students are gaining the right skills. But this is not happening. Of the nearly 30 teachers we interviewed, they all agreed they lacked the time, resources, and framework to build a professional network.
So we've come up with Create by Connect. Create by Connect is a model for teachers and industry professionals to come together so we can radically change education.
Create by Connect is a 2-year fellowship where teachers and industry professionals come together to write lesson plans, but they're not partnered together by subject, like an engineer with a math teacher, but they're paired by subject skill.
We want to really change the way that the classroom functions, and allowing teachers to do what they do best, which is teach students, and allow industry professionals to come in and teach students about the skills that they'll need after they graduate.
So the Create by Connect experience begins with a 2-day teacher workshop where teachers will include a lunch meet and greet so they can start meeting industry professionals. These mixers, as well as regularly scheduled mixers throughout the school year, will help teachers build their professional network.
Next, teachers would expose their students to a lesson taught by them and an industry professional. This would be like if I were to bring in a lawyer to talk about logical argumentation skills, and then I could tie that to writing proofs in geometry.
So I definitely knew as a student I wanted nothing to do with math. So geometry was not fun for me, but I love arguing. So if my geometry teacher had been able to bring in a lawyer and make the connection between arguing and proofs and arguing as a career, it would have helped me see the value in my math class.
After the first year, teachers could then apply for the summer fellowship where they would continue their work with their industry mentor.
They will continue to write lesson plans, which will be archived on a website for other teachers to see and use. And then these lesson plans will be used throughout the upcoming school years.
Finally, teachers would challenge other teachers to Create by Connect so that we could reach even more students.
So how can we help teachers like Janella and connect with those industry professionals over a cup of coffee? The North Kansas City School District is already interested in running a pilot for the summer, but we want to reach out to more people. If you are a teacher who's interested in becoming a fellow in Create by Connect, please come speak with us. If you're an industry professional of any type of career, such as a designer, an artist, an entrepreneur, local coffee shop owner, please come talk to us.
We'd love to invite you out for a cup of coffee.
So thank you all so much for coming tonight to see what these amazing ladies have created, and we hope that you will engage with them afterwards. We just want to take this moment to thank again our sponsors, EDC, Missouri Bank, and Sprint Accelerator. And then I would also love to recognize the volunteers who kept me sane in this process. So if you volunteered, please raise your hand, stand up. Joe, where are you?
Joe, everyone give Joe a huge round of applause. He's been here every day this summer. And Laura and Phyllis and Shannon and all the wonderful people on the front door, Sarita. Thank you guys so much. We couldn't do this without you. And we have a couple asks of all of you all here tonight. So our main goal is pretty big. We want to change the future of education here in our city. So to do that, it takes a lot of people, and it takes a lot of effort, and it takes a lot of work. So we're asking you all 3 things tonight. In a moment, all of our fellows are going to disperse to one of the signs by their companies they've created around the room. And it's your opportunity to network and engage with them in their asks. So please extend your network, whether it be an intro email or a business card or just a word of encouragement or some feedback. Please engage with them. The second thing is we continue to keep growing this community. We started out as a group of 10. We're now over 1,000 strong of people that have engaged with us in Lean Lab in just over a year and a half and going back to the 2 years. So next time you come to one of our events, please bring a friend with you and help us grow this community. And then last but not least, we have a few people in this room that have started a charge to help us be sustainable, and donating just at the $5 level each month on the website, you can help do that. So there's donation tables at the front, or you may do so on our website at just the donate page on the leanloud.org website. That's all, Carrie, to end this meeting.
No, thank you all so much for coming, and enjoy beer from Boulevard.
Yes, please enjoy the evening. Thank you.